everyone. I'm going to do a vlog on meet my horses. Now I've done one before obviously, but this is meet my current horses or our current horses. My very first vlog was meet my horses and a few have come and gone since then. So if you've watched that and you want to know where some of them have gone, then send me a message, leave a comment, and I will address that in the next vlog. The first one I'm going to start with is Misette. Misette is a billy horse, Billy Misette. If you Google him, some of his videos come up when he was on the Sunshine Tour. He previously show jumped to quite a high level and then really slightly fell out of love with show jumping. They gave him no real reason. They gave him a good check over. There was nothing medically seemed to be wrong. And I had him I've had him for 4 years now. And he came to me originally to be sold and as a hunter, and I hunted him and he was lovely and I fell in love with him. And I happened to say to Charlie, it was just before Christmas, he asked me what I wanted for Christmas and I just kept saying, I really want Misette. And he said, well, that's ridiculous. I'm not buying a Misette. Anyway, he succumbed and he bought me Misette for Christmas. And I have to say, it's one of the best Christmas presents he's ever bought me. So yeah, I've had Misette for 4 years. He loves his hunting. I use him as the field master's horse. So that means I lead the field and I take everybody round with me. He's a real sweetheart. The goats sleep in his stable with him. He's so gentle. He's a big, gentle giant. Pretty much anybody could ride him. Certainly at home, he's very chilled out hacking. He's not so chilled out hunting. He gets quite lively and he's quite keen. And he literally watches the hounds. And if he can't see them, he gets quite excited and is desperate to follow them, which makes him a great field master's horse. I absolutely adore him. He's so comfortable to ride. He's like riding a cloud. He's just so comfortable. He is now 13 years old. Touch wood, he's fit and healthy. He's not got the best feet. We have to be careful with his feet. And he has a good 3 months off every summer with his shoes off to let his feet rest. And that's really sort of helping and doing the trick. So we just have to keep an eye on him. But he is a real sweetheart. And then we've got Brody, who's also a billy horse. And obviously, I've done a lot of my vlogs on Brody and my journey with him. I've had him for 5 years now. I bought him from the Billy Stud auction as an unbroken 3-year-old. Quite possibly the best present I've ever bought myself. And yeah, I've just loved my journey with Brody so far. He's been a superstar. We've had our ups and downs. Obviously, I've had a few mishaps along the way, couple of falls. He was quite spooky to start with. And I didn't start eventing him until he was 6 because the year he was 5, it was when we had such a horrendous dry summer and the ground was so hard and I didn't want my first season or his first foray into eventing to be on concrete basically. So I waited until he was 6 and he's 8 and we're doing intermediates and 3-star shorts. So I wouldn't have believed I would go back to at least that level. When I started out on him, I'm loving my journey with him. He's very, very honest. He loves his work. He tries really hard. He's not the cuddliest of horses. He doesn't really like a fuss. He likes a scratch, but he's very straightforward. Again, he can go out with anything in the field, although he tends to play with them. And he's a little bit rough and tumble with his play. But yes, he's just been super. He's got the most wonderful jump. He's got the most wonderful attitude. He doesn't particularly get worked up or stressed. He'll eat anything, literally anything. He's a bit of a pig. And as I say, he's not the friendliest, it's not friendly, he's very friendly. He's not the cuddliest of horses, doesn't really like a fuss, unlike Misette. But he's really sweet. He's really interested in what's going on around him. Lovely to ride, very comfortable, and aims to please. He really does try and please. So yes, I can highly recommend the Billy horses. I think everybody should have one. So I've had him for 5 years and just really enjoying my journey. Not sure where we're going to end up, but I'm enjoying the ride. Doing another intermediate on Tuesday. So if I get this vlog out soon, maybe the day after this vlog comes out. And then I'm going to end the season at Bicton, 3-star short, and then I'll have a bit of a holiday, and I will then get him back in and keep working on my flying changes. They're coming slowly. Next, we've got Sufi. Now, Sufi, I came upon sort of accidentally. I bought a horse called Global from the sales, and he was in training with a chap called Milton Harris. And when I bought him, I kept in touch with all the girls at the yard and with Milton. And I said, do you mind if I tag you in any post? He said, no, not at all. We'd love to keep in touch. And I sold Global to a really good friend, and she absolutely loves him. She hunts him, and she started having lessons and doing little competitions on him, and he was a saint. Anyway, Milton phoned me up and said, did I want another one? And he got 2 for sale. And I said, no, I didn't want any more horses. And he said, well, I really, really want you to have the gelding. And I said, I really, really don't want another horse. And he wasn't asking a lot. And I said, well, if you accept even less and you bring him to Newmarket, I'll have him. And he said, I'll see you tomorrow. So I picked Sufi up. I've had Sufi a year. He's now an 11-year-old. He previously was obviously racing, won 2 or 3 hurdle races. Everything Milton said about him was true. He said he's lovely to ride. He's a real sweetheart. And he is. He's very pretty. He's lovely in the stable. He's lovely to do. It's very easy to do. He's taken to the hunting brilliantly. Charlie's hunted the hounds off him. I've field massed on him. Tilly and Georgie have whipped in on him. Katie has, a friend that rides out, has ridden him in the field. And Lucy team chased him. And I mean, he did a novice team chase, and then the week after, or a couple of weeks after, he did an intermediate team chase. He really is super. Tina Wallace, life on the left rein, came up and took him out on a hound exercise day. He's just lovely. Like I say, it's pretty much anybody's ride. He's not a plod, but he's very easy. He's very straightforward. He's got a lovely jump. He's great attitude. Not got the best of trots. I'm not sure you'd want to be doing many dressage tests. Nice canter. Very comfortable at hunting. But he's a little bit mincy in his trot. He gets better. But again, lovely. You can turn anything out with him. He doesn't mind whether he's on his own or with others. Easy to ride. And so lovely in the stable and very, very pretty. So yes, I do like Sufi a lot. We all like Sufi a lot. I possibly would sell Sufi. Because he's the sort of horse that I know would have a lovely home. I know whoever bought him would just adore him because he's so lovely. So for that reason, I probably would sell him, but I'm not in any hurry to sell him. I don't really like selling horses. I am meant to be buying the thoroughbreds to sell them, but not very good at that. And I really, really like to keep in touch with them. And so yes, I might sell him. I've not decided. Then I've got Chesnley. Chesney's arrived. I've only had him a month, probably less than that actually. He's a 13-year-old ex-racehorse. He raced on the rules. He's French bred. And then he pointed. And a friend of ours, Georgie, who helps us whip in, phoned up and said, did we want another horse? And I said, no, not really. And she said, well, a friend of hers wanted this horse to have a job. They didn't want to sell him. They adore him. But he was just sat in their field. And they felt that, at 13, he was a bit bored and they wanted him to have a job. So they said, would we try him with the hounds? So I've got him. I've been hacking him out. He's very nice. Nice looking horse. He's not been out with the hounds yet. I've held him in the yard with the hounds around him. He seems okay so far. The plan is to take him out, see if he'll hunt, maybe for Charlie, really, to hunt the hounds off. But if he won't do that, if he doesn't like the hounds around him, then the owners will have him back. So we're going to see how he gets on with Chesnley. So far, he's settled in really well. I've chucked him out with Sufi and Misette in the field in the day. He's very easy, very straightforward, good in traffic. He seems very nice so far. So watch this space. Then there's Posh, Miss Posh. She is my youngest daughter, Maddie's horse. Bought her 6 years ago for Maddie. She's now 20. She's just been brilliant. When we bought her, we were told that she was a bit strong at hunting, which she can be. She won't go in a trailer, which she won't. And she doesn't like men, not great to shoe or clip. All of those things I could cope with if she was going to be the right horse for Maddie. Now, actually, she's really good to shoe now. She was a little bit tricky to start with. And again, she was a bit tricky with men to start with. She actually broke Charlie's finger when he tried to catch her. But she's a lot better now. She's brilliant with my farrier now. I mean, I don't have to hold her. She just stands there. She's okay to clip. She's a bit fidgety, but much better. She's keen out hunting, but really she's fine. I've filled mustard on her. Georgie whips in on her a bit. Maddie loves hacking around. Maddie really just enjoys the hacking around the farm. Okay, so when I left this morning to do my guided ride, Posh was in her stable. When I get back today, not only is she not in her stable, she appears to have jumped in with Elliot and Misette, which is not very funny, Posh. And, well, it looks like she's opened the gate, so maybe I'm doing you a disservice. It looks like you've opened the gate. That's cheating. I was very impressed for a minute to think that you'd jumped in. Misette, have you had an exciting morning? What are you doing in here? She's got a sweet jump. She previously did a vent, I think, and a record, but I suspect she was probably overfaced, because she's got a mean stop show jumping. But she's very good at hunting. She'll jump anything out hunting. Very sweet. Very easy to turn anything out with. As I say, she's 20. She's got quite a few melanomas. But none seem to be bothering her so far, touch wood. But yeah, she's good. She looks well. She doesn't look 20. And she's pretty problem-free at the moment, apart from the melanomas. She bumbles along, and we all ride her, and anybody can ride her, really. She's a sweetheart out hacking. I've got a young apprentice that's just started with me, and Lily's been riding her. She took her on a hand exercise the other day. So, yes, the plan with Posh this year is Georgie's going to whip in, but not every week. We're going to alternate between her and Tay, because she's obviously getting a bit older. And yeah, she's good. Next, we've got Tommy. Tommy is 10. Again, he came to me slightly by accident. I wasn't looking for another horse. You probably all know that I got Ember from a girl called Kate Tibbetts, his ace horse, racehorse on Facebook. She rehomes racehorses or resells racehorses. And Ember was obviously quite quirky when I first got him, and was practically given him for nothing because he was had a lot of issues. And obviously he's, we sorted him out, and then now Lucy's got him, and she's had a lot of fun, and she's done a great job taking him from where he was. We were hunting him to his eventing. He's brilliant. And Kate actually phoned me up and said, I've got another horse that's very quirky. And I said, do you think he'd do me? And she said, oh my God, yes, I'd love you to have him. And again, I, made a cheeky offer and said, would she meet me halfway? Because she lives miles away. And she said yes, and so I picked Tommy up, and I absolutely adore Tommy. Wished I'd had him earlier. I think I probably would have entered him, although he's not the easiest. He came to me, like I say, with quite a few quirks. I think he probably had ulcers. I haven't had him scoped, but we given him a lot of time out in the field. I had him in, hacked him out, took him out with the hounds, and then chucked him away for a bit. So he's done very little, really. He moves beautifully. He's got a great jump. He raced. He won a couple of chase races, but I think the racehorse trainer found him quirky. So he's probably always been quite quirky. Charlie and I slightly fought over him. I keep saying he's mine because I bought him. But Charlie really likes him, and Charlie has hunted the hounds off him. He team chased him, and again he did I don't even know that he did a novice. I think he went straight in it. Into. And then Charlie did something called the Silver Spur ride on him, which is a hunt race ride. And he flew around that, big hedges.
Looks like number 5 in the lead. That's Edie Campbell in the lead, irregular with a miss. Then should be regular over these fences. Dropping into number 4 with a good leap over that. Followed by 7 and Sarah Robinson moves to. Number 6
Go, Charlie! Go on! Yes!
He is lovely. Charlie says he's doing a one-day event on him. So watch this space, because I'll definitely be vlogging that. And that's in about a month's time, which will be hilarious. I can't wait for the dressage. He's lovely, Tommy. He's taken to that hunting well. He's not the easiest. Not everybody likes riding him. I love riding him. And he's very, very comfortable. He's quite flashy, but he's got good knee action. Lovely jump, but he sort of slightly holds back in the jumping. He's getting better with the show jumping. He's brilliant over a hedge. So we're going to do a bit more over. I'll probably try and do a bit more flat work with him soon. Yes, but he's very nice. He's about 16 hands. Flashy and sweetheart, but he does get quite tense. He starts gurning quite a lot, chomping at the bit quite a lot. But yes, so currently he's Charlie's, but I ride him mostly. Then we've got Tay. We've had Tay for 14 years. I absolutely adore Tay. Not that keen on riding her because she's quite uncomfortable. But she really has been amazing. Charlie wanted a horse to hunt, and it's quite a funny story. Phoned up about a 3-year-old that a trainer called Ferdy Murphy had, that was going in a cellar race. So Charlie was going to, and in cellar races, you can buy them after the race. Charlie was going to buy him, and he phoned up the trainer and said, I'd like to buy him. And he said, what do you want him for? And he said, I want him to hunt. And he said, good God, no, that horse will kill you. Absolutely not. And he said, but I do have a mare that the owner hasn't paid the training fees, and it's sat in a field for 8 months. And I've told them I'm not training it unless they pay the bill, and they refused to pay the bill. So he agreed with the owner that he was going to sell her, and all he wanted was the outstanding training fees, which wasn't a lot of money. So Charlie bought her, but he hadn't told me. He just told me about the colt that he was looking at, and the 3-year-old colt. And so this little horse transporter came with a tiny little travelling head lad who was very Irish. And I said, I can't do an Irish accent, so excuse me this. And he opened the ramp and he got out this bay mare, and it was meant to be a chestnut colt. And I said, oh, what have you bought me? And he said, oh, to be sure, I think I've bought you the little ground colt. And I said, well, that's a mare. Oh, so it is. Well, I'm not sure what I bought you then. And he looked at the passport and he said, oh, it's a mare. And anyway, there came Tay. She'd not been ridden for 8 months. Charlie made me get on her first. And she was very good, very sweet, quite scrappy action, quite uncomfortable. And she has been an absolute superstar. She's not the most naturally talented. She did win 2 hurdle races in Ireland. She's very quick, doesn't move terribly well, doesn't have the best jump, but she has the heart of a lion, and she would just do anything for you. There's a ride called the Harbour Ride, and Charlie won it, I think, 2 years on her, and that's over big hunt hedges. And quite frankly, I have no idea how he got around, because like I say, she's not got the best jump, but she has got the heart of a lion, or she'll do anything for you. We've all ridden her. She's hunted the hounds. She's whipped in. I haven't field mastered on her because, no. And she's now 23. She's still going strong. Tilly won a flat race on her, charity flat race at Fakenham. She stormed up. She was amazing. She's very quick. She slightly gets attached to other horses, so can be a bit of a pain. We did loan her out one year, actually, because we weren't really hunting. It was before we had the hounds, and she wasn't doing a lot, and we loaned her out to a friend. And she, honestly, she's the easiest horse. And they couldn't do anything with her. They couldn't shoe her, they couldn't clip her, they couldn't catch her, they couldn't get her in because they couldn't separate her from the others. So we just said, well, we'll have her back. She obviously didn't want to go. And she's very easy. She's very easy to do anything to. The only thing she is not easy to do is she hates having her mane pulled with a passion. And the only way I've found the easy way to do is just stick her in the lorry. And for whatever reason, she stands in the lorry quite well. I think she just thinks, I can't get anywhere, and gives in. And yes, she has been an absolute superstar. She owes us nothing. She loves the hunting. Georgie whips in on her. Georgie's going to carry on whipping on her as long as she's sound and fit and well. She looks amazing. As I say, she's 23, so she's not going to go out every week. We're going to try and keep it easy for her. And yeah, she is just wonderful. It will be a very sad day when we don't have Tay anymore. This brings me on to Barney. Barney is our newest addition. We've had him for 2 weeks. He's a 4-year-old, full Irish. He has hunted in Ireland. He came over, I think, in March. We bought him from a lovely family in Lancashire. Tilly and I went up to try him. It's for Tilly to hunt, ultimately to whip in. Didn't really want a 4-year-old, but he is just gorgeous. He's everything they said he was. And he moves beautifully. He's very light on his feet, although he's quite a chunky chap. He's not put a foot wrong since he got here. He will ultimately whip in and hunt. But we'll take it steady. That's why, I didn't really want a 4-year-old because I need something for Tilly to whip in on. And but we'll obviously take it steady. He's green, he's young, he's big. We don't want to just throw him in at the deep end. And, he doesn't want to be ridden hard. He needs, to mature and fill out a bit. And he'll probably go. He looks a bit higher behind. But so far, so good. Brilliant with the hands, lovely to do. So far, can't fault him. He's gorgeous, and I think Tilly could show him. And I know she'd quite like to have a go at side saddle, and I think he'd be great at that. So yes, so far loving Barney. This leads me to the sad bit. We recently have lost 2 horses. Wesley, who were bought from the sales, the Ascot sales. He came with a lot of issues. We knew that. He had terrible knees. And you'd get him in from the field and he would... Well, basically, when we got him, his knees looked terrible and we chucked him out in the field for... I think he had 10 months out in the field. A real sweetheart. And we got him back in. We hunted the hounds and he was brilliant. A bit strong, but brilliant. Charlie liked him. But... we both felt that he probably wouldn't stand up to the work, and we weren't going to sell him. We didn't want him to be passed from pillar to post. He'd had a hard life. And so we were going to find a sort of lone home. But he would occasionally come in from the field with cuts on his knees, and his knees obviously didn't look great. And the lady that was having him on loan noticed that he came in from the field one day with cuts on his knees, and then the next day she saw him fall over. Consequently, he was checked out, and the vets basically said he'd got narcolepsy, which is where you fall asleep. It's reasonably common. Not common, but it's not that rare. And they generally do it at rest, not when they're ridden. But he was a big horse and he was increasingly falling over. So we made the decision to have him put down, thought that was the fairest thing for him. The saddest one of all is, unfortunately, we lost Cloud this year, and that's why I've bought Barney. Cloud was 15. We'd had her for 9 years. I bought her for Tilly. As a 3-year-old, it nearly caused divorce because Charlie said I absolutely was forbidden to buy a 3-year-old for Tilly, who was probably 14 at the time. And anyway, I did buy her. And we've had her issues. Obviously, she pulled my thumb off, so she was called the thumb taker. She was quite challenging. Not the easiest, but Tilly adored her. And I always had a love-hate relationship with Cloud. Obviously, after the thumb, a bit more hate than love. But she was just the most fabulous horse for Tilly. And for that, I will always love her. Always crying. Very, very sadly, she'd had a problem with a hock. Her hock had fused, probably, which can happen, and they can function quite normally on it, but ultimately it probably will cause them a problem. And we knew she'd had this bad hock, and she'd had it for 3 or 4 years. So we were always cautious about it. She didn't need any treatment on it. It didn't look great. It was quite filled, but it never filled up. It stayed the same the whole time. She was sound on it. She was as tough can be. One of the toughest horses I've ever had. And one of the most stubborn as well. And she, unfortunately, last year, the beginning of last season, she got an electric shock in the field and span round, and I heard this crack, and she was immediately hopping lame, and I thought she'd broken her leg. I called the vet immediately. I ran out to the field to put a head collar on. I called the vet immediately, and I was waiting for the vet to come. And whilst I was waiting, the vet was going to be about 15 minutes. She started to weight bear because she wasn't weight bearing. She started to weight bear, and she started to put it down. So I managed to get her into the stable, and the vet came out and they looked at her and said, we need to x-ray it. We can't transport her. So they went back and brought their mobile x-ray out. They x-rayed it. It was very difficult to get a clear picture. It was a mess. What looked like there was like an arthritic spur, and it looked like it had snapped off and caused quite a lot of swelling and obviously a lot of pain. They went back to get their scanning machine to scan it because they couldn't get a very clear picture with the x-ray. And by the time they came back, which was probably about an hour later, she was pretty sound. I mean, obviously not sound, but she was weight bearing. She was fine. She looked happy. Like I said, she is very tough. So anyway, they scanned it and they said, again, it was quite clear, difficult to get a very clear picture, but it didn't look great. And they said, we just don't know that she'll ever be okay. So the plan was to give her box rest anyway, which she needed, and to treat it with steroids and anti-inflammatories and pain. She had a lot of, we gave her some painkillers, and we're just going to see how she coped over the next couple of days. But she just, whilst it was more filled, and the bit that was alarming was the top of the tendon was filled, which it hadn't been. It was only ever the hop that was affected, but now the top of the tendon was quite thick. And about 2 weeks in, I said I really wanted her to go to Newmarket to, because she was, definitely sound enough to travel, to get a really, see if we could get a better picture of what was going on. So I took her to Newmarket, and they said she really shouldn't be sound. She was. I thought it was a bit of a ticking time bomb. There was debris there, and where the arthritic spur had broken off, it had gone into the tendon sheath below, which had caused the joint fluid to go into the tendon sheath, which wasn't great for the tendon, and that could ultimately, over time, wear down the tendon, and so that meant that at any point that the tendon could snap, and or another arthritic spur could break off, or the whole hop could collapse. They really didn't know, and they said the only thing we could do was to give her 8 weeks. I think it was 8 weeks box rest, and then restricted exercise and restricted turnout. And in their opinion, she would only ever come back to light exercise. As I said, they kept saying she shouldn't be sound, but she was. So we did 6 weeks box rest, and as she got better and the swelling went down a bit, she became quite unmanageable. And bearing in mind, she has jumped out of a stable before. So we made the decision to turn her out. So we sedated her and we turned her out, and she was just lovely and chilled out in the field. And at the end of the hunting season, she missed all last season. We decided to give her the summer out to have a summer holiday with Tay as she did normally, and to bring her in and start hacking her when we'd bring them in normally. What we did notice out in the field was that she rested that leg a lot, and whilst she was sound, she rested that leg quite a lot. And if you picked it up and you felt it, you could feel something floating around in there that had no business being in there. And as the vet said, at any moment it could just collapse and snap. And obviously we didn't want that to happen. She would be in agony. It would be very traumatic for whoever was riding her. And as Tilly was the one that rode her, I didn't want that to happen. So we decided to have her put down, and it was incredibly sad because, like I said, we've had her for 9 years, and she has just been the most amazing horse for Tilly. Tilly adored her, and she just, you know, when you have children and they ride, and you have those horses that look after them, you know, regardless of how I felt about Cloud, I loved her for that. I knew Tilly was safe on her. I knew Tilly could jump anything on her and they would look after each other. And so for that, I will be forever grateful. And so it's very sad. But she had a wonderful life, and she had a great summer holiday. And you know, it's that's horses, unfortunately. They come with a lot of fun and a lot of heartache. And it's hard to say goodbye, but sometimes it's for the best. So, yes, so that's all sorry to end on a bad note. That's all the horses we've got at the moment. I say at the moment because it's a bit of a constant ebb and flow. So yes, if there's any that you've seen in the past that you want to know about, leave a comment and I will update you on any of those. As I say, if I sell anything, I do keep in touch. I keep closely in touch because I'm invested in them, and I love them. I make a terrible dealer because I'm terrible at selling them. But yes, we have a lot of fun with our horses. I love the horses. They're my whole life. And Charlie secretly loves them. And I'm very lucky. All of the children have ridden. Joseph doesn't ride so much anymore, but he gets on every now and again, generally Christmas Day, after he's had a champagne in the morning. But yes, so we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 horses at the moment. And yeah, that's them all. And I love your comments. I absolutely love your comments. So please do leave me a comment. If you've liked this vlog, give me a like, share it far and wide, and follow me on Instagram. I keep updating lots of stories about all of the horses on Instagram. It's Justine Ward Eventing. And obviously we have our Bloodhound page, Nar Valley Bloodhounds, where we update it on the hounds and the horses on there as well. Thank you very much for watching, and just wanted to do a quick update. I wanted to put this vlog out before my intermediate run at Little Downham, but I didn't get a chance. And so since then, Barney's been cross-country schooling, so I'll insert a little video of that. Well done! And Chesnley has been out with the hounds and has been very good. He's been a very good boy. So all going well. No changes on any more horses. But yeah, just a little update. Anyway, bye for now.